So, how long have you been trying to be financially free, trying to build your dream wealth, right? Today, we have got a wealth strategist on our podcast with over 20 years of experience in wealth creation. Our guest is on a mission to help investors grow and scale their wealth portfolios. Not only that, he's been in the challenge game since 2020, taking on over 20 challenges on various topics ranging anywhere between 21 days, 14 days, and he has even done 3 to 5 day challenges as well. So right now he's on a mission to get as many people as possible to what he says, live a life unlimited by income. So it's going to be deep today, and I can't wait any longer. Let's give a warm welcome to Todd Polke. Thank you so much for joining us, Todd. Welcome to the Beyond Challenges podcast.
Thank you so much. It's so appreciated, and I'm excited to be here. Love what you're doing. Love that there's an entire thing dedicated to challenges, because truly it's one of the best places to be able to bring people into this beautiful little space, to be able to even help create transformation in a short period of time. So love that you're doing this. You're doing a fantastic thing.
Thank you so much, Rod. The pleasure is all mine again to have you over here. Now, when I was actually looking at your profile and I was just like seeing what exactly you do and everything, like I was very curious to find out like there are a million ways to make money. Okay, like
Yeah.
I'm sure you would also agree. But how did you get started with investment portfolios in the first place? Like, what's your story behind it?
Yeah, look, it's a super good question. My background, before I got involved in the wealth and education space, I was a personal trainer. And so my day would wind up getting up at about 4 in the morning. I'd go through to about 10 or 11 in the morning with clients and have a little bit of a break in the middle of the day and start again at about 3 in the afternoon and go through about 7 or 8 training clients. But then I still had the business side of things to run. And so I had marketing and I had clients to take care of. I had programs to write out, all the different things you've got to think about when you're running a business, right? And so my day would wind up finishing by about midnight, and then I'd start again the next morning at about 4 a.m. Because I was running this whole rule of life, which was just, well, the harder I work, the more successful I'll become. And that was my philosophy of how I was actually trying to live life. And, a lot of people have tried that before and have realized that it doesn't work. It's a broken system, and it leads
Right.
to burnout and depression and a whole lot of different stuff. And welcome to my life by about the age of 20. I had, broken my body and had leg surgery on both my legs, broken my health, getting sick all the time, personal trainer being a beacon of health, being sick all the time, broken my relationships because I wasn't putting the quality time needed into it, broken my, personal life, which I didn't really have much of. And after working 17, 18 hours a day, doing that for 50 weeks of the year, I realized that I was still broke financially. And I got to this point in my life where I went, this is bullshit. There's got to be a better way than this. There has to be a better way to do life than just work your backside off until you're 65 years old and retire living on next to nothing, which is what it is for most people. And
Absolutely.
from that moment, I decided there's got to be a better way. And I started studying different successful people. I started attending seminars. There wasn't podcasts back then. This didn't happen. And so starting to go to those things called live events. And as I started attending them, all of a sudden I realized that, these people who have created wealth and success in their life, they didn't do it because they were lucky or they were born under the lucky star or the heavens opened up for them. They got there because they had a different system than what I was running. And I said, I have to know that system. And so I started studying that system, made a decision to buy my first property in 6 months' time, did a renovation on that deal, made more in that one property deal than my entire year's income at the time. And after that, I was hooked, right? I learned this beautiful thing the late Jim Rohn coined was that profits are better than wages. And I didn't look back after that. Ever since then, I got obsessed with investing. I got obsessed with what makes a difference in people's lives. And I dedicated my life after that, educating and helping everyday people to be able to break free from financial slavery and to be able to live that life unlimited by income. And that's where I find myself here today with you.
Wow, that's a really good story. I mean, you were at your lowest point in your life when you found out about Jim Rohn. We are attending all of these live events that you were doing, so you have learned from the OG, Jim Rohn himself, right? I mean, like it's not like a lot of people right now, they are in that state of mind that they can attain financial freedom by the age of 30 by simply making a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, like, I wanted to understand from your perspective, because you have been in this industry of wealth generation for like 20 years now. What is financial freedom for you?
Well, what an incredible question. And you know what? It's as you just said. I like that you asked what is financial freedom to me, because you ask someone else that's a different answer
That's different,
altogether, right?
absolutely.
And that's such a incredible distinction. Whenever I think about financial freedom, I think about four levels of financial freedom. I think about the
Mm-hmm.
freedom that you need to cover your needs, and that's just basic
Mm,
needs. Not Lamborghinis, not any of this crap, right? It's just basic
right,
needs,
right.
and all
Mm-hmm.
that's designed to do is get your time back. So you're not tied to an office or tied to this. Like, you get your time back, and that's step one. Then you go to step two, which is the zone of wants. And the zone of wants is all about increasing the level of choices that you want in your life. Level three is
Mm,
financial freedom, where it's all about your dream lifestyle. And then finally is legacy wealth, right? And that's where you're leaving
legacy
the
wealth.
legacy you want for
Mm,
your family, but also you're leaving the legacy you want for the planet and leave the world in a better place. You know,
mm,
for me, one of the things that it's always been about is three really critical things. It's service. And so, when I mean that, what I mean is when I say that, what I mean is when you have the freedom, you have to truly live out your passions and your purpose here on the planet. I have a true belief that every single person has a
wow.
purpose of being here on the
Mm-hmm.
planet. And
Mm-hmm.
most people are kind of they're treading water financially, and it's like they're treading water. They're doing a lot, their legs are moving, but they can't lift their head above the waterline to be able to see beyond. Hey, I've got bills to pay, I've got a job, I've got family to feed, I've got this. And they can't see beyond that to be able to actually be able to stop and go, what is my reason for being? And so for
Mm,
me, it's all about being able to live out my purpose, which is I'm a teacher at heart. That's what I do. Yeah, if you get me ranting about something, I can't stop. I keep going. I just love to teach. I love to educate. It's about adventure. I mean, we live in such a beautiful world, and there's so many gorgeous, incredible things to be able to experience. And so I want to do it all. And it's very much around family for me. And so for
mm,
me, financial freedom is
absolutely.
about having the freedom, the choice, the lifestyle, the time freedom, financial freedom, emotional freedom, and location freedom to be able to go live out my purpose, raise a beautiful family, and have all the adventure and experience this incredible world as much as I possibly can.
Wow, I love that perspective when you say that you have like four stages of like financial freedom, and I absolutely relate with it, because most people think that when they have like enough money to afford the Lamborghinis or a luxurious home, that's when they are financially free. But I love that you talk about the legacy that you leave behind. That's another level of financial freedom, right? So what do you think is the like, I would say, the amount of money, or maybe the amount of money that you have invested, when you reach that stage, that you would think like, okay, this is the legacy level that I have reached right now I can be absolutely like, I'm free right now from thinking that my children would be facing all of these financial issues, but now I have enough invested that I can just go ahead and live the rest of my life without having to maybe do anything or focusing on making more money.
Absolutely. So it's interesting, I've retired twice before, and I got bored out of my mind
Oh,
after like a week. And I think I lasted about 2 weeks the first time and about 7 days the next time. And then I just got bored. I just had to get back to doing it. I think retirement is a shit goal. I really do. I think you set up a life you don't have to retire from. Retirement
absolutely,
is a terrible
absolutely.
goal. How
Mhm,
boring. And so it's an interesting question, because I was just telling you before the show started. I live in a rainforest. My
mhm,
partner and I, we got a rainforest at the beginning of last year, and it's been something that I've been wanting to do forever, right? And COVID kind of kicked along this journey a little bit, where all the lockdowns, all that type of stuff. I said, look, I don't want to borrow that. I'm going to do me over here, and going off grid and having my own power, growing my own food, having my own water. And that was something that I wanted to create for myself and my family, but also be able to have a space to run retreats on and do different things. And so when you talk about how much, do you know what? I could live here probably on and have a pretty extraordinary type of life on maybe $1,000 a week if I really wanted to. And so when
mhm,
I sit there and go that level one, I sit there and go, do you know what? if I really wanted to, 50 grand is quite solid. That's great. I'm not a big spender. I prefer to be wandering around in my forest and building things. That's what I like to do. And,
Mhm.
the beautiful thing about this type of connection is that I can sit here in my home and speak to people literally all around the world and still teach and share and educate. It's not what it was 15 years ago where I was on a plane 200 days a year, traveling around and speaking and training around the world. And
Mm.
so, but I also think that, okay, that's one level. But at a level, and I'm careful when I say this, I also think it's selfish, right? Because I sit there and go, if I was just sitting there going, oh, well, I've got enough for me, or that's what I'm going to do, I think that's selfish. And that's how I feel about it. I
Absolutely.
think it's
Mhm.
almost selfish if you are not aiming towards creating financial freedom, because all you are then focusing on, just you as yourself, you're not there at how do I give back to the world in this bigger, more beautiful way. So
Mhm.
one of the things that's for me is that I'm into conservation. So for me, when I talk about it, I talk about land conservation. I had the
Mhm.
privilege of growing up in Solomon Islands, where I was born in Solomon
Mhm.
Islands, in Australia. Now I'm born in Solomon Islands, and I grew up seeing my parents. My earliest memories, my parents walk off the ocean, going scuba diving into the reefs. That's my earliest memories. And I had the privilege to do some travel in Africa. My dad has been over there like 20 times, and we went trekking and we've done some beautiful things over here. But I also saw the beauty of that, and I saw the horror of that, of the poachers there. I've been
Mm.
over to the Amazon jungles over in
Wow.
and
That's an adventure.
definite adventure, yeah, 100%. And sat with medicine people over there and things like that. And I saw some of the things that occurred to the forest there, and how the Amazon, the lungs of the forest of the world, are being destroyed and logged. And
Mm.
so, with all these experiences, to me, my big thing is that I want to buy land to be able to then protect it and give it back to the people, right? And that's what it,
Mm.
in a
Wow.
protected space. That's what the whole thing is to me. So when I say how much is my legacy, well, it doesn't matter. Like, I mean, I sit there and go, where's the limit? How much can I give back? How much more
Mhm.
can I go and create that I can then go buy more acres of land and be able to put that into trust for future generations? And
Mm.
that's how I think about it, right? In terms of
Wow.
those legacy type of wealth.
Wow, Todd, I love your mindset. I mean, like you have been in this game for so long that you understand that there is no limit to what you can specifically do yourself. Right from where you started, I'm sure you would have never imagined that you would be at this position, right? So
I started with no money, no idea, and what I felt was no hope. That's how I started when I
mm,
started this kind of game.
wow, I love it. I mean, like I would love to know more about how you found out like all those learnings. And I when I was going through your stuff, I found out that you have managed like $2.5 billion worth of investments, like in transfers, right? Wow, that's absolutely big. So what has been your biggest breakthrough moment from where it actually started taking off? Like you were like, okay, this is the moment, and now all I'm going is uphill. There's no
Mm,
nobody's going to stop me.
mm. An incredible question. Do you know what? It was when I really started speaking my truth. And what I mean by that
Mhm.
is that when I started this whole game, how do I put it? I was a little bit more contained, because I thought, well, if I say this, and people are going to think this, and what if I say this, and if I really share something from my heart, what's going to happen there, and if I talk about this stuff, and people are going to judge. Like it was when I went through this journey thinking like that, and I had all these restrictions. It was almost like
Mhm.
I bound myself to this experience,
Mhm.
and I always here's what I always think. I always think that our external reality will be a direct reflection of our internal environment. So whatever is happening in our heads, and whatever is happening in our hearts, and whatever is happening in our soul, that will have a direct reflection of the external level of results that we achieve, and the level of success, and level of wealth, level of happiness that we have. When it comes to
Right.
wealth building, what comes first? Is it becoming having $1 million in a bank account, or a millionaire as a person, right? And to have an incredible marriage is what comes first. Is it having like everything out here that you always dreamed, or is it becoming the best husband, or the best wife, or the best father, or the best son that you could possibly be? And so for me, it was when I chose and made the commitment to fully speak my truth, is when
Mhm.
things changed, because all of a sudden people could connect with I would call my tribe, and that's probably the best way to put it. I found my tribe because they could actually hear me and they could feel me because I was actually speaking truth. And I will often say a lot of things that a lot of people won't say, and a lot of people tend to resonate that. And when I began that, and that was when there was a fundamental shift in everything else that occurred from then on in.
Wow, wow, Todd. I relate to you so much because, like, I'm in my early 20s, right? And I've been
Dude,
in
you're doing
this
so
space
good.
for like,
Early 20s, man. I just hit 40. If I was doing you at early 20, man, I'd be going, this is incredible. So, bro, congratulations.
I really appreciate it. I mean, like, I had the pleasure to start at the age of 19, and I've been in this game for like 4 years, 4 to 5 years now. And what I have figured is like right now for the past 5 years, I have always been thinking like, yes, I should say the things that people want to hear, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, I had no idea. Like, I was a 19-year-old who would say to me that, okay, you just have to speak yourself, right?
Yep.
So eventually I found out, and I like recently, like 6 to 7 months has been really transformational for me. But I realized that I should be starting to speak what I really want to talk about, right? And that's when I started the Beyond Challenges podcast as well. So I mean, like, I absolutely relate with you. And being in the early 20s, what would you think that would be like? I really need to ask you this because I think you would be the best person to ask this for. So, what would be your advice if I had to start building wealth from today, so that I could have what you have in your 40s?
Yeah. Again, good questioning. Like, I love the questions you're asking. Here's what I think about it, right? Uh, Everyone thinks that in building wealth is about buying assets. Like build wealth
Mhm,
building starts when you buy a property, you buy some
mhm,
shares, you buy some crypto, you buy this, you buy that, right? But that's like the tip of the iceberg, right?
mhm,
When I think about investing begins well before you ever put a dollar down to buy something, right? It begins
mhm,
well before that. And so the first investment that I always think about is we've got to invest in our psychology. As I said just a moment ago, is that you'll never out earn yourself, right? You will never out earn yourself. So we invest in our
right.
psychology first and foremost. Investment number one. Investment number two is that we invest in our self awareness and understanding ourselves. And so what I mean by that is that, like, for me, when just quite a little bit of a segue, but one of the other formative things which changed the absolute direction of my life was when I really learned who I was. And what I mean by that is that I'm now a nerd at personality profiling. But
Mhm,
I used to beat the shit out of myself because I wasn't good at this thing, or that
mhm,
I wasn't very detailed orientated in this thing over here, or that I wasn't able to do this. And so I used to go around beating the crap out of myself because I wasn't good at certain things, because I didn't really know where my genius lay. And when
mhm,
I learned that everybody has a genius, and our greatest leverage point in our life, that when we understand who we are and we understand what our true genius is, and then we double down and triple down on our strengths rather than trying to fix our weaknesses, that is when your true momentum is going to take off. And that was a moment for me where I understood that when I knew who I was, and I stopped I stopped beating myself up. I stopped being super critical. I stopped this. I found who I was, and I stick to my lane. And all I do now is I teach, speak, train, and drive a vision for my company. That I refuse to do anything else. And I have this incredible team around me, who you've spoken to. So there's an incredible team around me who help me do all the other things and help the trains run on time and stuff, so I can truly give my gifts. And that was one of the other things. Slight segue. But the point about getting that is that when we understand ourselves and we double down and triple down on ourselves, we then start to focus on
mhm.
how do we invest in growing our primary income stream. So how do we
Wow.
invest in ourselves so we can grow our income stream?
Mhm,
The third investment, I think, is all about like investing in our financial IQ, our investment IQ. Because let's be real, we're never
mhm,
taught, even in this day and age, we're never taught. My daughter's 13. She's just
mhm.
started high school, and zero part of the curriculum still, to this day, still
Right.
has nothing
I
to do
agree.
with how do I manage finances? How do I grow wealth? How do I create financial freedom? How do I live a healthy lifestyle? How do I communicate effectively in relationships? How do I do this? We're just still nothing. And
Nothing.
so you've got to get that real world education, right?
Mhm,
And then finally, when we go through that investing in our financial and investment IQ, right? So we start to raise, and so we start to create some more confidence. right? Then what we do is that we invest in the first element, which is all of our personal finance system. And so when I talk about a personal finance system, money has an energy. Money loves order. It loves
Right.
structure. And so when you give money a mission, it stays with you. If money doesn't have a mission, it goes to someone who has a mission for it. And so we then
Mm,
set up a personal finance system in your life where every time a dollar hits your bank account, it has a plan, it has a purpose. Because money without a
mm,
purpose tend to go to
wow.
someone who does have a purpose.
I love it. Love it. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, like knowing where you're spending your $1. I mean, like all the other things that you need to structure with that $1, like where 20 cents are going, where 20 cents are going. I mean, like I love that. I mean, like having a plan for every money you make, it's very important, right? And I love that you mentioned that you have to start investing in yourselves, because that's what I have been doing personally as well. Understanding how people work, how people think, right? When you study
Mm,
people, that's when you actually start understanding why some people behave the way that they do. And
mm.
it doesn't matter what niche you are in, it's always the people. So once you understand the people, you would, I mean, like it's just a game changer after that. So I mean, like, thank you so much for sharing all of that, Todd. It's really like it's really deep. I mean I'm connecting with you so much. So now shall we start about talking challenges? Because I
Yes.
think, like, now that we have the context, let's dive in on how you have been doing challenges. I mean, I have, like, you said that you started with 2020, by and you have done 21-day challenges, 14-day challenges. And I know that these challenges, like long versions, work really well in India. But how has it worked for you, like in Australia and New Zealand? I think that you have been running the challenges on. So how has that long form challenges worked with for you?
Yeah, so it's really interesting in watching each generation as they react and they respond to these type of challenges, right? Because as we know, younger generation. My daughter, she's 13, trying to keep attention on anything for a long period of time in the world of TikTok, like, and all that type of stuff is a really, it's a challenging experience, right? Let's talk about
Mhm.
challenges. It's a challenging experience, and people's attention spans are getting shorter. Now, what I found has worked really effectively with longer form challenges is the small trainings with implementable action steps, right? And so that we
Mhm.
want to create a transformation within this period of time. And so people come on the journey, and that
Mhm.
every step of the way, when they are seeing that, oh, I'm creating this, day one is this and day two is this, and there's a structured system which is laid out for them where they are actually creating progress in and amongst it, and these constant milestones. What it's always doing is that we hit this milestone, hit this milestone, hit this milestone. We are then re-engaging them to the next level because they've just kind of created this experience of momentum where they're
Mhm.
ticking things off step by step. So with the right content structured in the right way, which is designed to create transformation while
Mhm.
we're in the midst of the challenge, the long form challenges have worked really, really well. Like, I enjoy doing that because we can bring people into an environment, into this space where we could really go to work, right? Don't
Mhm.
get me wrong. I love 5-day challenges. I love 3-day challenges. But when we can go do a little bit longer, you've got a committed group with us, then we can really go to work to go and, create something beautiful within that period of time. And it creates a lot of trust, creates a lot of deep relationships, and creates a lot of momentum for their lives, which they then want to continue.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, like, if 5-day challenges are so powerful, when people feel like they have gotten so much in just 5 days, I could only imagine what they would be getting in 21 days of transformation, right? So, I mean, like, how would you structure your offer, and when would you make the pitch for your next thing in a 21-day challenge, versus a 5-day one?
Yeah. So I'll start with the 5-day one because that's the easy one to kind of talk about. So when I
Mhm.
structure my challenges, I'll have three very distinct. Let's talk about one of my strategy, my wealth challenges, right? I
Mhm.
split, over 5 days. I'll do 3 days of training and then
Mhm.
homework in between, right? Is what I'll do. So it'll be a training day, it'll be implementation day, training day, implementation day, training day, implementation day. And so how I will structure that in my language is that I'll start with strategy, and that's all about zooming out and seeing the bigger vision and the bigger picture to be able to kind of help people think beyond where they are right now, right, and actually
Mhm.
put a bit of a plan in place. Day number two is all about structure, And so that's where we get more grounded. That's where we get more earth-based. How do we set up the underlying fundamentals and the structure behind the portfolio that we can then grow from? So we've got the vision, we've got the structure. And then the third one is systems. So the
Hmm.
systems is all about, well, how do we go and take that and how do we implement it? And that's the finance system, the strategy, the investment system, and the deal system. And so that's how I'll lay that out. My
Hmm.
pitch will be on day number 2, right? So that's what I'll do. My primary pitch on, day 3, which is my second speaking day, so to speak. I'll do
Hmm.
my primary pitch then, and then I'll do a secondary pitch on day number 3, right? So,
Hmm.
the final day of the challenge itself. So I'll
Oh,
do
so
two
you're
pitches.
talking about the 3-day challenge, right? A 3-day
Sorry,
challenge.
let me phrase. It's a 5-day challenge, but there's 3 teaching spots. So sorry, I'm using confusing language. 5-day challenge,
Hmm.
3 teaching spots. I'll teach on Monday, I'll
Okay.
teach on
Wow.
Wednesday, and I'll teach on Friday. And in between are implementation days where they got homework and they've got to interact with the community.
Wow, wow, that's a unique way of doing it. I mean, like I never saw something like this before. So, I mean, like you're gonna make the pitch on day 2, which is okay. Okay, so implementation day, you do not teach on implementation days. It's just implementation, right?
So after each session, they're giving homework. And on that homework day, they have to go and complete it and then they have to post it in the group. So we always create a closed group community just specific for the challenge. So we'll open up a Facebook
Mm,
group just for the challenge. It opens and then it closes, about 14 days after the end of the challenge, right? And
mhm,
so the implementation day, it's homework, and I position it very strongly to begin with that you're here to take action. You're not just here to listen. If you're here to listen, please just leave. Right, we're here to do things together, and there's expectations. You submit your homework
mhm.
to the group, and obviously to the group, because I want to normalize wealth creation. People get weird talking about money, right? They get weird. They feel, oh, I don't want to share about this. I don't want to share about money. I don't want to share my fears about money. And we've got to normalize wealth creation, right? So I want people, and I set the entire frame. We're normalizing wealth creation. We're going to talk about. We're going to talk about what you're afraid of. We're going to talk about what you're scared to talk about. We're going to talk about things that you don't even want to tell your partner. And that's what we set this up. And so that's why I make it very, very strong that we have implementation day where you submit homework to the group and you have some time to go put some things in place.
Wow, wow, I love that. I mean, like it's like people have to take action if they're willing to get that transformation, right? So I mean, like this is something that we do as well. Like implementation is very important, and going live on Facebook and delivering what you just covered on that day. So I mean, like that's very powerful. Absolutely. So you talked about like you are creating specific Facebook groups, but you have one main Facebook group where you bring everybody in, and
Correct.
there you do the like there you sell your stuff. It's like if you are doing a master class, that's how you fill out the master class. If you're doing a challenge, that's how you do the challenge, fill out the challenge, right? Is that it?
Correct. So if we think about our funnel, and this is the world that you're in, right? There's all the paid media, and then you've got
Mm-hmm.
open social media, so Instagram or Facebook
Mm-hmm.
or YouTube videos or whatever it might be. Our whole outcome is to get people into this private group, and this group it's called the Wealth Dojo. I call it Wealth Dojo because
Well, dojo.
my
Yeah.
background is in judo. I'm a martial artist, and so a dojo is a place to learn, and so that's why I call it the Wealth Dojo. It's just works for
Mhm.
me, right? And so I bring people into this environment who I know they want to build wealth. I know they're interested in investing. I know they want to create financial freedom. They want more choices. And then we bring
Mhm.
them in there, and we just give them, we help them, we support them, we give them information, we give them education, we give them a lot of free resources, a lot of free opportunities, a lot of stuff that comes in there. It's a very valuable group. And what that
Mhm.
does is it creates this incredible community for us. And with that
Right.
community there, that we can then go, hey, we're putting on this challenge, and we've got this ready-made audience who want to be a part of that, right? Who are educated,
Mhm.
inspired, motivated, and empowered to come and actually take the next step in their journey.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like it's deliver as much value as you can inside the Facebook group, so they naturally are interested in what you do next, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, like, is that Facebook group the only way you are bringing people to your challenge, or do you run ads, or what is your strategy of filling out the challenge?
Yeah, we have more recently started running ads, but most of our stuff has been organic to date, right? And more
Wow.
recently, we've started to run
Mhm.
ads and started to do that, but it's primarily been organic, and organic from our emails database, and organic from socials, And then organic from partnerships as well. I love doing partnerships. I love collaboration. It's such a cool way to do things, right? So I love
Absolutely.
collaborating with other incredible speakers, mentors, coaches, trainers, people like yourself, like where we can kind of, share things and we're just working together. And so that's been another big way that we've been able to kind of grow our challenges.
Wow, wow, absolutely. I mean, like when you get people like speakers on your list, like on your challenge, they have a separate list themselves, right? So you get a chance to come in front of their audience, and they get a chance to come in front of yours. So I think it's a win-win-win for everyone. So
Yeah, exactly,
yeah,
exactly. And what I'll often do is that, I'll be positioned as a wealth expert to their community, and it's just adding value to their community. I'll just show up and I'll just
right.
add so much value. It's crazy. Like
No,
I would
I.
add more value than what they would get in a course if they pay for it. I would just be there and I'll be the wealth guy, add value, add value, add value, add value.
Hmm.
And then they go, what do we do? What do we do? How do we pay off your wealth? Cool, come to the Wealth Dojo, we're running this challenge, and it's been such an incredible way to grow things.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely, I agree. And I have seen some of your content. It's really amazing. I mean, like you're so direct on your content as well that we get to get a complete idea about what you're speaking about. So I mean, like, you're amazing. Thank you so much for putting all of that out. If nobody has said to you yet, let me
Thank
be
you. I
the one to
appreciate
tell
it.
you you're putting out really good work. So,
Thank you. I
like,
appreciate it.
I wanted to ask you this. Like, you have done 20 plus challenges by now, right?
Yep, correct.
So, like, what kept you going on challenges? Why not just shift to any other funnel or do any other thing? Like, what kept you going on just with challenges?
Oh, look, as I said earlier, I'm a teacher at heart. I can't, so part of it is I can't help myself, right? I honestly, I got to be straight up. Part of it, I can't help myself. I'm a teacher at heart. I love to teach. I love to share. My team always make a joke at me. When they go, Todd, can you record this 5-minute video? They already know it's going to be 25 minutes. I can't help it. They go, Todd, we got this 2-hour event to put on. I go, it's not going to be 2 hours. You already know that. It's 3.5 hours, 4 hours. And so I just can't help it. I love to teach and I love to share. And so part of it's that. What I've also found is that, and I made this decision, I wasn't going to make decisions based just on finances or based on money. If
Mm,
I was doing that, I would run a 90-minute presentation and I'd just run ads to it, and I'd run it,
right.
twice a month, and I'd do that just on rinse, wash, and repeat, and I'd do it over and over again. And that's great and it works. I didn't find integrity in it for myself. And so I decided that if I was going to be true to myself, I was going to be true to my word, and I was really going to show up in what I said I was going to show up in and live my mission, then I'm showing up and giving everything I possibly can. What this
Mm,
means is that I win challenges. I have this environment where I can really help people transform, right? And I know after that the right people are going to continue their journey with me. And so,
mm,
yeah, I've worked with people, I used to be on the speaking circuit and working with promoters and things like that. And it was always just sell, 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 sell. And that's important. There's nothing wrong with selling. Something has to be sold. And I know when people come and
right.
pay money to join my community, their results just go exponential,
Mm,
right? But
absolutely. Mhm.
I also know that uh, there's a good way of doing that and not so good way of doing that. And some people in the industry, and unfortunately some people in the wealth industry, it's all just a churn and burn, and I can't be a part of that. So if I was
Mm,
being true to myself and showing up in my higher self, then I'm here to serve and I'm here to give and I'm here to educate. And the challenge allows me to be able to do that, but also allows me to build a really strong relationship with the people that I'm a part of. And
mhm,
so I only want to work with people who have a similar mindset to me. I don't. It's just too hard. I'm just not interested in working with people that don't, at the very least, resonate with some of my value systems. It's too hard,
mm.
and I don't want to borrow it. I'm not here to work with everybody. I'm here to work with the right people.
Wow, I absolutely love it. I mean, like when you say that you love to see that transformation happening live during the challenge, you see people go from not knowing anything, and then when they join, and go through a few days, they would be like, "Oh my God, I never knew that this this actually existed and it was legal to do." Right? So, I mean, like I absolutely relate with you. So, what would you say were your top three learnings from your first challenge versus your 20th or 25th that you're doing right now?
Wow, top learnings. Great question again. Okay, so number one was that every day had an outcome. right? So I would then go, like when I first was running it, for example, I just showed up and I thought, oh, well, I'll just teach them stuff and that's great, right? And that's cool. It was fantastic and all that type of stuff. But when I started to become more intentional around what I do and in terms of like every day has an outcome and I reverse engineer that to get that outcome. So if I sit
Mhm.
there and I look at a challenge and I go, okay, my outcome at the end of this challenge is to get people to have this experience, to have this
Mhm.
level of learning and to take this next step. So if I think about what my outcome is or what I want the outcome for my participants to be, I then reverse engineer everything from that point in time. Okay, in order to get to that end point of having this transformation, then
Mhm.
what do they need to learn in day three? What are the top three things they need to know? What do they need to learn in day three, day two, and day one? And what's the singular outcome that if I zeroed in on that one outcome for each of these days is going to
Mhm.
help them stack their learning one on top of another to create this transformation, this aha moment at the end. So that was
Mhm.
lesson number one,
Wow.
right?
Mhm.
To become very intentional with my content and that there's an outcome behind everything every day. It has a core outcome.
Mhm.
I found the next one was community. And
Mhm.
so we weren't holding, we weren't opening little Facebook groups for it. It was just like you turn up and then you go off and then you turn up and then you go off. But when we started opening these communities, what we found is that people were desperate for somewhere to share and to be part of some like-minded people and to be able to connect with some other people that think they can. Because a lot of people wander around this world. I don't know if this is true for you, but this is true for me.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like my family just do not get me. They just don't. Right? They just like I'm just this weirdo off doing this weird thing. Like my parents still don't understand what I do for work. They don't get it. So what do you actually do again? I'm 40. Like still ask me. Oh, what happened to one of the degrees you started like 20 years ago? Oh, well, they just don't get it. We're just a different psychology, different mindset.
Mhm.
And a lot of people go through life, especially when you start your personal growth journey. And you would have experienced this, I'm certain about it. I haven't met a person who has not. When you start going through this personal growth journey, all of a sudden, some of the people around you begin to change.
Mhm.
Some of your friends that you might have gone through
I
school with,
agree.
you just don't resonate. Have you had that experience yourself? With
Yeah.
just
Yeah. I
yeah,
mean, it's very different now, right? Like how it was before, and it's mostly like they do not get what we do,
yeah,
and it's like you're just wasting your time. You do not like simply get a job. I mean, it's very big in India.
yeah. And so I think you and I and everyone else listening in this, we're just a bunch of weirdos. Compared to the rest of the population, we're a bunch of weirdos and we're wandering around and we're going, I want to find another bunch of weirdos that actually get me, that understand me, and that we can just be weird together. And we create this community where you go out and you talk about, hey, I want to create financial freedom. And people go,
Mm.
yes, let's do it. Woo! Like, let's get on with it. Rather than have other people around you go, why? What do you
What?
want to do that for? What are you
Absolutely,
greedy?
absolutely, yeah.
Come back down to earth. Like, oh, stop. Your wealthy people are evil and all the type of bullshit that we're taught, right? And people just
Mhm.
want this other group of weirdos to be a part and just to find their home. And so when I found that, people actually all of a sudden they could talk about money and wealth without being judged, and they know it's okay. And so that community was a big differentiating factor for us as well.
Mm.
And the third thing I would say is that I got more intentional with my pitch, right? And what I mean by that is before I kind of used to be a little bit when I first began, selling on stages and things like that. I would sell, but I wouldn't really sell if that makes sense. I would just go, I would half-ass it is how it would be. And because I had my own kind of stuff I had to clear in terms of that, although I've been in sales for a long period of time, 20 years plus I've been in sales. I still had my stuff when I first started speaking where I was just, oh no, I just want to teach, I just want to teach. But then I realized that unless people are willing to kind of invest in themselves, they're not going to be truly committed, right? They're not truly committing to themselves and to the journey, to the learnings, to the education, because I can give everything I possibly can to people and teach everything I possibly can. But if people aren't willing to invest in themselves, they're not going to take it seriously. They're not going to honor the commitment that they're making to themselves. And so I got very intentional about the pitch. I got over my own bullshit about selling, and now I sell. I want to sell like a crazy person, because I know as soon as people come into my world, their whole lives are going to change. I just have no doubt about
Wow, I love that. I mean, I love that you said that selling is not like you just go ahead and keep pitching about your thing. It's about the people, right? It's their transformation, so they have to make the decision themselves. And it reminds me of a really good quote by Myron Golden. I would just read it. Um, it said like selling. Hold on, let me. Yeah, selling isn't convincing. Selling is persuasion,
it.
right?
Mm.
Convincing is when I attempt to get you to do something that I desire for you
Yeah.
to do it for my reasons. But persuasion is when I help you make a decision you already desire to make for your own reasons.
So
So,
true. Hey, so true. And I found that when you have something that's so, and I don't remember who said this, I'm not going to say this right, but when you have something that's so valuable, yet you don't tell other people about it, again, it's selfish, right? So it's just a
mhm,
different way of thinking about it. It's selfish not to share what I have to be able to give, and to be able
mm,
to kind of do what I can to persuade people to take that next step, and to be able to kind of explore this at a deeper level. There's a level of, and that's what I was doing when I was going through my own stuff around selling and things like that. I got to the point of realizing, wow, I'm actually so caught up in myself around how will other people judge me? Will other people do this or my own, or what does that mean about me? That I forgot that
mm,
I'm actually here to serve other people. And if I'm here to serve other
right,
people, and I know what I have at the bottom of my heart and my soul is valuable, that's going to help them, then who the hell am I to stand in their way by just buying into
right,
my own bullshit? The sale is always being made. It's either you're buying, they're buying your certainty, or you're buying their doubt. Like, there's always a sale that's being made. And so how are you going to show up actually on
mm,
stage, and on whatever stage that is, whether a podcast, whether this, and stand in full presence and integrity with yourself, knowing that what you have to do is valuable and that you can change people's lives, and then have the gall not to share it with them? How selfish is that?
absolutely. I love that. I love that, Todd. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. I mean, like, it's very valuable what you just shared. And I think it's going to help a lot of us watching this over here as well. So, now we do something like this on every podcast that we do with our guests. We do a rapid fire where we ask you a question like this or this. You just have to give an answer just like on the go, right? So, is it okay if we talk about the numbers? That's absolutely fine with you, right?
Mate, get into it. Let's go.
All right, awesome. So, number one, how many challenges have you done so far?
Yeah, I mean, you've been talking about it. We've done about 20 challenges so far. So on average, we
Mm-hmm.
probably average, I think now we've got a cadence of one every single quarter is what we do. One major
Mm-hmm.
challenge every single quarter is our primary focus. That's what we're doing now. But it would have been 20 plus over the last kind of 4 odd years we've been doing this.
Wow, awesome, awesome. So, how many people averaged in each of your challenges?
Usually around 150 people in a challenge. As I said to you before, we've just been doing organic marketing, which has really just been coming from our individual groups. So
Mm-hmm.
we haven't even broached the subject of going, hey, let's go and do 1,000-person challenges or
Thousand.
something. And
Mm-hmm.
we haven't done that. We've been focusing on smaller challenges with very educated people who know,
Mm-hmm.
like, and trust me already and want to be part of the journey. So it's usually around 150 per challenge.
Wow, amazing. And they are very dedicated to you because you have been providing them value before, right? So they know you
Correct.
as a coach. Awesome.
Correct.
So, a free challenge or a paid challenge?
Free challenges is what we've been doing to date. And so in the majority of our challenges, our only call to action is to schedule a call with one of our team, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so we generally do quite a soft sell into a phone call. And then because we found that to be far more effective in terms of our own conversions, and also in terms of the relationships that we want to create. And we have done some, direct sales from the events as well. And that's been okay. But we found our best result has been a call, and then with one of our team.
Awesome, awesome. So, your solo versus a collab challenge,
Sorry, say that again.
a solo challenge or a collaboration challenge?
We've definitely done both. Definitely done both. So we've done wealth summits where we brought in different speakers, different
Mhm.
challenges with different speakers. So we could just call it wealth summit, still a challenge with something, right? And so we
Uh-huh.
bring in different speakers, and we might have someone in uh, trading, for example. I get one of my
Mhm.
crypto nerd buddies in to kind of talk about crypto and nerd out about that. I might have an accountant in talking about structuring and things like that. So we've definitely done both. I would say the majority are solo challenges, but we've definitely done some collab stuff as well.
All right, awesome. I mean, like, I love that you have had an experience of both. Awesome, awesome. So, which one of these would you choose? The longer versions of challenges, which is like 21 days, or you would be going with shorter 3 to 5 day challenges yourself?
Shorter. Definitely shorter now because, and the reason is that I've also had. It's interesting, right? So I came from this time where I would just be working my backside off and working my backside off and working hard and
Mhm.
doing all this and things like that. And then I got to the point of going, am I honoring my family by doing this? And the answer was no.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
I then chose to change how I do everything because I haven't had to work in a fair period of time, and I had choices how I use my time and things like that. And so I made the right choices because doing 21-day challenges can be exhausting, and I
Absolutely.
also it takes a lot. Like it sounds like you know
Yeah.
exactly what I'm talking about. Um,
Yeah.
and so my lady and I, we love to travel, and I've got a new baby boy who's only 5 months old now, and it's funny. I've got
Wow.
a 13-year-old
Congratulations.
girl and a new baby boy who's 5 months, so it's been a big gap between children, and I will only be doing shorter challenges in general now because it's the best thing for me, it's the best thing for my family, and I can bring people in and be able to serve them in a deep way within that period of time. And then it's time for them to take the next step.
Wow, amazing, amazing. Love that you are adopting to the changes that you're seeing from the past 20 challenges as well. And you're thinking about your own self and your family right now more than actually like what you're doing. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, I love your perspective on that.
Well,
So, what,
and just touching on that, we have to, right? Like we have
right,
to choose
absolutely,
how we want our life to be. And we have to
absolutely.
get clear on what that vision of our life is going to be. And then we have to choose to create the structure and the framework and then show up at a level of standard in our life to be able to go and turn that dream and that vision into a reality. And so otherwise we've just become wandering generalities and hoping we're just going to trip over our dream life. And it's never going to happen. So like we have to do this stuff, and then we make choices around our time, we make choices around our financial resources, we make choices about our energy, we make choices about our knowledge. How are we going to direct these resources continuously towards the outcome that we want to be able to create in our life?
Absolutely, and we weirdos have that opportunity to choose that, right? Because we have been doing it that way since we started. Absolutely, I
Perfect.
agree.
Okay.
So, what was the lowest revenue you have ever made from your challenge, from one challenge?
The lowest amount. Do you know what? It was probably a personal finance challenge, and it's really interesting when we think about this because my background, although my primary background is in property, I've traded and taught extensively on shares, and I'm a crypto nerd and business investments and alternative investments and a whole range of different stuff. So I'm a wealth strategist. I don't care if it's property or shares, crypto. I really couldn't care less. Every single one of them serve a purpose in the portfolio. What was
Mhm.
interesting though, and in personal finance stuff. So I did this one challenge, which was a personal finance challenge, and some of them have gone really well. But this particular one was a personal finance challenge, and what I was doing is that I put the challenge based on the audience that I was talking to, which you would
Mhm.
think is the right thing to be able to do. But then I realized the audience I was talking to were very often, and nothing wrong with this, but stay-at-home mums who don't have much money and who are trying to figure out how to create another income stream from a home-based business.
Mhm.
Nothing wrong with that. And I know a lot of people that teach them incredibly well to build a lot of wealth. But for me, when I did this collaboration, it really wasn't the right fit for what I teach, right? And so I didn't start with the end in mind in that process. If I started with the end in mind, yes, part of the end in mind is for them to teach them, to educate them, and to be able to support them and serve them, 100%. But another part of the end in mind is that, come on the journey with me in my programs, and I work with investors. This is who I work with, and these guys just weren't ready to be investors. They were at
Mhm.
very basic ground level, and a lot of them. So the audience wasn't a match for my service, and so although they
Mhm.
learned a lot, and I got a lot of praise, and thank you so much, you helped me so much, and I love that. That's great. But from a pure financial standpoint, yeah, it really didn't go so well.
Mhm. How much was it? How much did you make in that challenge?
Oh, goodness gracious, might have been. Oh, it's probably still like $5,000 or something like that. I probably made from it.
Mm.
So yeah, it was
Mhm.
$5,000. It's not. Yeah,
Wow,
it's
that's
fine. No worries, but not where I normally sit. Yeah.
yeah, no, absolutely, but it's absolutely fine. Like 5,000 is from the lowest one. I mean, like, there are people out there who are making 60 grand a year. I mean, that's a job, and you made
Yeah.
5,000 from just one challenge. That's amazing, though, right? So, what was the highest revenue you have ever made from one challenge?
Yeah. And so from direct sale to the challenge, one of the beautiful things about my business is that I have a strong, a very, my lifetime value of my client is very strong, right? So people come into my journey, and we go on a journey together. And wealth building isn't let's come in for 6 months and learn some stuff and go. This is
Right,
a
right,
five to 10 year journey. And so one of the
mm-hmm.
beautiful things about what I do is that's why I like to build relationships. So I start all of when I meet people, my whole thing is build a relationship, because I'm not here to let's get a quick sale and then get out the door and do a little course, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
I want a
Mm-hmm.
10-year relationship with my investors at a minimum. And that's what I tend to look for. And so I start everything with that in mind. So if we were talking sales from a challenge, is probably around about 500,000. Is probably from a single challenge, but the lifetime value of the people from that challenge is well over 1 million.
So you're talking about like you made 500 grand from one challenge.
Yeah, yeah, it was fun.
Wow. It was fun.
Yeah,
Tell
it was
tell me
fun.
about it. Yeah, no, absolutely. That's amazing, right? That's 500 grand from one challenge. That's amazing. And finally, like, how much money you have made in total from all of your challenges, from last 20 challenges you have done in
Yeah,
total?
well, um, look, I would say it's 3 to 4 million. I would say so, something like that. It'd be 3 to 4 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Love that. Love that. And if you wanted to make $1 million in the next 6 months, so would you go all in on challenges or would you go with any other way?
Oh, that's a good question. A leading question. I like it. Um, Do you know what? There's a reason that we choose to do 4 challenges a year every quarter. There's a reason we choose to do it. Like, we tested a lot of different events, from 2 hour events to weekender events to 2 day summits to challenges. We've tested a lot of different events. And what really works for me is the 5 day challenge is what really works. It's that
Hmm.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday with implementation between. That's the structure and the system and the format that suits my teaching style. It suits my clientele. It suits the relationships I want to be able to build. And so it's the mix that we do, and we do it 4 times a year. So, um, the answer is absolutely. Would we be doing it? Yes. And then we'd be focusing on scaling them through ads. And that's our next journey that we're moving on.
Awesome, awesome. Really appreciate you, Todd. Thank you so much. It's been an honor to host you today. Lastly, I would just like to ask you one question. Like, what would you say to someone who's on the fence and still procrastinating to do a 5 day challenge?
What have you got to lose? A lot of people, when they start these things and do these things, we can create all these reasons why it won't work, or what it might mean, or what it might be this, and we either buy into our results, or we buy into our excuses. One of those two things is going to happen.
Mm,
But when we just go, what's the worst that can happen? Is that okay? I put his challenge on, and then no one shows up. All right.
mhm,
Well, hey, I learned some stuff. I created an entire event. I learned some things, and I have the opportunity to dissect why it didn't work and learn some more and go in it again. Like, the point is, like, why wait? A lot of people spend their lives waiting for the perfect time or the perfect moment, or the heavens to open up and their guardian angel to tap them on the shoulder and just let them know that today is the day, or their parents to approve, or their parents not to approve, or their boss to give them, like, they spend their entire lives waiting. Like, what have
mhm.
you got to lose? That's what I would say. And just do it anyway, right? Feel the fear, feel the concerns, feel all that, like, acknowledge it, and then just get on with it. And and commit to your results over your excuses.
Wow, wow, that's really deep. Thank you so much, Todd. Thank you so much for sharing all the valuable information you shared with us. And I think that we are going to take a lot of amazing things home with this interview. Thank you so much for being here, Todd.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for what you do, and I appreciate it very much for inviting me on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. All right. So, with that, we come to an end of this podcast. I hope this was absolutely helpful to you. Put down your best takeaways were in the comment section below. I love to read them. And last time, Divyasi put down a really amazing comment. So, go ahead and put them down. I love to read them. And if you have any feedbacks about the podcast on how we can improve on anything, do share that as well. I would love to get your feedback on that. And having said that, I have a gift for you in the description below that will help you to launch your first or next challenge the right way, with which you can actually go out and make six figures from your challenges. So I'm going to see you on the next one. Till then, keep creating for a change.